Hey, what is up YouTube? Potato Milk here with an Arcane Legends video for you guys, and I apologize for not making videos in a long time. I decided to take a break for a while, but don't worry, I'll be back to making Arcane Legends videos as always, showing off some things, maybe showing off a few tips and tricks about a few things. So yeah, so here I am rocking the new Ghost Set armor and the little backpack, but that's not really what the video is all about. What this video is about is taking a good look at the Immortal corruption staff and and, and giving my personal I guess review about it, and showing off how it is in combat. So yeah. So currently I am in Elite Misty Grotto, and before the video started, I sort of was just bored, just um doing some work on these guys with my staff, and it pretty much devastates against mobs. Um, Now, this staff tends to get compared to the wildfire staff, the flame forged staff, and I could see why, because those are probably because this staff and the wildfire staff is one of the two most effective weapons that you could use and against groups of enemies. But 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 there's a few downsides to this staff, and but there's a few uh, benefits to this staff as well. And so first off, let's take a good look at the staff itself. So pause the video if you want to take a look at the stats. They're pretty high stats, gives me some good damage. And so here is the proc. Uh, Pause the video if you want to read all that. So with that said, the thing with the wildfire staff was that when it procced, you had to keep this constant stream of damage going on if you wanted to keep it lasting. And if you wanted to have it stack even more, you had to keep spamming your staff attack. And that was kind of a problem for me because I didn't really like spamming the staff attack, and it kind of felt a bit uncomfortable for me. So that was kind of a downside with the Flameforge staff, was that you had to keep spamming the staff attack if you wanted to keep that wildfire growing in damage and damage. And yeah, and and with this staff, you don't have to worry about that. All you have to do is just get Rotting Flesh to proc, then you could just spam all the attacks you want, and then there you go. So yeah, and its proc rate can get pretty damn high when it's on large groups of enemies, just like wildfire. Because for staffs, each hit could hit up to 4 enemies, so you'll have 4 times the chance, I guess. Whatever. So here is a large angry group of enemies that I normally wouldn't be able to solo in the past. So yeah, and its banish rate is relatively high. It's like 10 to 25% um when the enemy explodes. Well, that's just my guesstimation, but yeah. Also, it reduces armor, and and it stacks more and more the higher the more hits you get in there. And on the 10th stack, there's Rotting Flesh. So the enemies, when they have Rotting Flesh, it'll have the same appearance as when they're poisoned. Crap, died. Oh well. This might take a while because, well, there's a bunch of enemies, and it'll take time for my clock to freeze them. So yeah. But a little bit about the staff proc. When it procs, it'll only show Rotting Flesh one time on the enemy, indicating that they are, I guess, marked for the armor debuff. And yeah, So this weapon is essentially like a reverse glintstone aegis, because on the glintstone aegis, hits you dealt would increase your armor, and on the 10th stack, you would explode, dealing damage to nearby enemies. While this staff is the opposite. It, instead of buffing up your armor, it takes away armor from the enemy, and just like the Aegis, on the 10th stack, it would explode, but with an addition of having a chance to banish, and it would of course damage nearby enemies as well. So we got a few enemies here being a bit frozen, looking like frozen grapes. I wonder how that would taste. Oh, ouch. Ooh, that doesn't look good. Whoa, lots of stuff going on. I hate getting stunned. So there's rotting flesh, and on the 10th stack, the explosion will look like some green ring, as you just saw, if you look carefully at the enemies. And, ooh, someone just vanished, I think. But yeah, as you can see, the proc rate is very, very frequent. It'll tend to proc a lot. And like I said, the more enemies there are, the more it'll proc. Ooh, a elite gold runner chest. Awesome. Alright. Alright, so there's rotting flesh going on. And there's the banish. So that is why I think that against groups of mobs, the Immortal Corruption Staff is more effective than Wildfire, because the banishing happens faster, and the proc could proc more often than Wildfire, because for Wildfire to proc, it kind of takes a while for Wildfire to proc, and while it could spread, this does an explosion that doesn't have a, well, how should I say this? It has an explosion that damages all enemies nearby, instead of having to spread to one or two enemies. So yeah. So I'll just show you a little bit more banishing action, if I could get that going on. Alright. So as you saw, that was pretty damn devastating, because the banish just kicked in right away. And that's what I really like about this staff. Now of course, there are some extremely major downsides to this, because while this staff excels in taking out groups of angry mobs, it doesn't. It it's absolutely pathetic against bosses and fighting players in PvP, because you won't be able to take advantage of the banish, and the only thing that you'll be able to really have is pretty much an armor debuff and a few damage explosions, and that won't help you at all when you're fighting players and bosses. So you're better off just switching to some kind of legendary gun, or having or buying the Dragon Hunter staff if you still have one, or have the gold to get it. So that's about it. That's but overall, this staff is really, really solid against high groups of enemies. More effective than Wildfire. It's like a step up from Wildfire. But if you don't, but of course, if you don't have the gold to get this staff, then of course you'll want to get the Flameforge staff until you get this staff. But if you're going to, but just keep in mind, if you're going to get the staff, make sure that you have a backup weapon that you'll switch to when you're going to fight bosses. So yeah, overall of course, sorry if I'm sounding repetitive all the time. But overall, this staff is an absolute killer when it comes to dealing with tough groups of mobs, especially in elites because that's where it truly shines. Like I'm doing it elite right now. So yeah, so I'll just try to show this off one last time. Well, I can't really show the banish off, but I'll just show the rotting flesh text off for a bit. So yeah, that is about it. I hope this helped you guys. I hope this helped you guys' decision on whether you want this staff or not. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you for watching. I hope this helped you guys out. Hope this helped feed your curiosity and good stuff like that. And yeah, I'm out, and thank you for watching.